Imagine being born into a family. Let's say that family name was Johnson. And throughout the entirety of your life, you was never made to feel that you belong with the Johnsons. People in your family reminded you repeatedly that you were not a Johnson, that you were an outsider, and that you were not one of them, but something else. At some point, you're going to hear that message loud and clear. And what may eventually happen is you may stop identifying with the Johnson family name, or you may even drop the name in its entirety and choose a name for yourself that doesn't have Johnson in it. So now let me ask you a question. Would you say that they rejected the family first, or would you say that the family rejected them? Well, this is exactly what it feels like for people who were born and raised in Britain and who have lived here their entire life. They have been made to feel by Britain and England that they do not belong here. That is why they feel that they're rejected. The people grow up not feeling part of it. And then people in the UK wonder why people do not integrate and do not assimilate well. Because do you want people to belong? If you want loyalty, then you must make people feel part of the family. If you don't make them feel part of the family, then they're gonna go and do their own thing. This has been the relationship that many people who were born and raised in the UK, that they have with Britain. Britain has constantly told them and rejected them. Identity isn't something that is formed in isolation. Identity formation is largely a social construct, a combination of our parents, the teachers that we meet, society, culture, the media. All of these things help us form our identity when we're growing up in childhood. And so if all the messaging from these places are one of, we do not belong here, go back to where you come from, there are no blacks in the Union Jack, and all these types of messages, then you can't be surprised when people grow up feeling like they've been rejected by the country that they were born in. For a long time, I grew up with that sort of chip on my shoulder. But as I have gotten older and more mature, and you try to look at things now with a clear, rational mind, and you say to yourself, okay, I handed over that authority to someone else because I wasn't accepted by the people who were considered to be native of this land. Because I wasn't accepted, I gave them authority over how I chose to identify. You know, identity is not formed in isolation. Identity is formed by a combination of our experiences and how the world also recognizes us. It's all good me saying that I don't identify myself as a black man, but sure enough, the world does see me as one and will treat me as one as such. Some people of Britain rejected me. Not all of them did. And so that's when you have to become more mature in your understanding, and you recognize that, yeah, there's been a group of people who have, but there's been a group of people who haven't. And as you get older, you recognize that, and you understand how identity works and how it's formed. You then realize, okay, I handed over way too much power to people who I didn't know and they didn't know me. And quite frankly, who were just ignorant. People will rarely walk away from a family that they genuinely feel part of. People walk away from families they feel like they no longer belong to. So we can't really complain when people eventually decide to reject Britain, because, well, people move towards the things that make them feel like they belong. So maybe the question that Britain has to ask is that if people don't feel British, is it because Britain rejected them, or is it because they rejected Britain?